They thought she didn't belong. They thought she was nothing more than another foster kid, unwanted and forgotten. But none of them expected the moment that would silence the laughter and bring tears to the eyes of everyone in that courtroom. From the moment Emma walked into her new school, she felt the weight of invisible chains. She was quiet, carrying the kind of sadness that only children in the foster system truly understood. At lunch, the whispers followed her, "That's the foster girl." Her real parents didn't even want her. The cruelest voices belonged to a group of classmates who thrived on tearing others down. They mocked her thrift store clothes, her silence, and even the way she avoided questions about her family. Emma tried to stay strong, but every cutting word carved deeper into her already fragile self-esteem. She longed for belonging, for someone to look at her not as a burden but as a daughter. But in the foster homes she'd passed through, that hope had been crushed again and again. One day, in the hallway, the bullies cornered her. They sneered, "Why are you even here, Emma? Kids like you never have real families. You'll just get tossed around until you're 18. Their laughter echoed through the walls, and Emma felt her chest tighten. She wanted to scream, to fight back, but all she could do was swallow her tears and walk away. But what Emma didn't know was that life was quietly preparing something extraordinary for her. Weeks later, Emma found herself sitting nervously outside a courtroom. Her foster placement had been unusual this time. She was living with Judge Jonathan Miller, a respected man in the city known for his stern but fair rulings. At first, Emma was terrified of him. He seemed so distant, so authoritative. But slowly, she noticed something different about him. Unlike others, he never treated her as a case file. He asked about her homework. He listened when she spoke. And in the evenings, he would read to her or let her sit in his study while he worked. For the first time in her life, Emma began to feel safe. Still, she couldn't silence the doubts. People didn't stay. Families didn't last. And a man like Judge Miller, someone important, someone respected, would never truly want her. The court hearing that day was supposed to finalize the matter of her guardianship. Emma assumed it was just another formality, another paper before she'd be moved again. She sat nervously in her chair as the bullies from school, who had been subpoenaed as witnesses in a separate juvenile case, walked into the same courtroom. When they saw Emma sitting there with her foster guardian, they couldn't resist whispering cruel jokes, even within the sacred walls of justice. "Look, there's the foster kid," one of them muttered under his breath. "Probably here because nobody wants her." Their snickers carried across the room, piercing Emma's heart. She lowered her head, wishing she could disappear. Then, they mocked her because she had no one to stand up for her. They mocked her because she didn't wear new shoes, because her backpack was second-hand, because when someone asked, "Who's picking you up?" she never had a real answer. But that day in the courtroom, the same kids who laughed at Emma would witness something that would change her life forever. Emma had been in the foster system since she was 5 years old. Her earliest memory was of clutching a teddy bear as social workers carried her out of a house filled with shouting. Since then, she had lived in 6 homes, each with promises that never lasted. Sometimes she was too quiet, sometimes too difficult, sometimes simply not a fit. With each rejection, Emma built walls around her heart, convincing herself it was better not to hope. At school, her silence made her an easy target. Kids laughed at the way she avoided talking about parents, birthdays, or holidays. They didn't understand what it was like to blow out candles alone, to receive gifts from strangers because there was no family to buy them. The bullies twisted her pain into entertainment. One afternoon in the cafeteria, a boy jeered, "Bet you don't even know your real dad. He probably didn't want you." Laughter erupted around her. Emma's throat tightened, and she gripped her tray so hard her knuckles turned white. But that night, when she returned to the house of Judge Jonathan Miller, something inside her felt different. He didn't ask questions she couldn't answer. Instead, he noticed her red eyes and said gently, "Rough day." Emma shrugged, her default response. Judge Miller didn't push. He simply placed a glass of warm milk in front of her and said, "You don't have to talk right now. Just know, I see you." It was the first time in years she felt that someone truly saw her. Life with Judge Miller was unlike anything Emma had known. His house was quiet but warm. Every morning he left a note on the fridge, "Good luck on your test today," or "Dinner's on me tonight, your choice." At first, Emma thought it was temporary kindness. She had learned to expect the kindness to fade. But weeks turned into months, and the small gestures never stopped. Still, Emma doubted. She had learned too well that people changed their minds. When her social worker mentioned a hearing about her case, Emma braced herself for disappointment. She told herself, "Don't get attached. Don't hope. You'll only get hurt again." The day of the hearing, Emma sat nervously in the courtroom. To her horror, she recognized some of her school bullies sitting in the back, waiting for a separate juvenile case. They spotted her instantly, and their smirks returned. "There she is, the foster girl," one whispered. "She probably lives here now, no home to go back to," another snickered. Emma lowered her head, her cheeks burning. Their laughter echoed in her ears, making her feel small again. Then, the bailiff called, "All rise." Judge Miller on tier.